Every single year, millions of Americans voluntarily surrender over $100,000 in lifetime guaranteed retirement income through a simple, irreversible claiming mistake. At age 62, your monthly check might be just $1,400, whereas waiting until 70 locks in almost $2,500 every single month for life. Why do over 60% of retirees willingly forfeit that extra $1,000 a month right at the exact finish line of their working careers? The answer lies hidden inside a deeply flawed break-even formula that nearly every mainstream financial planner repeats without questioning the underlying actuarial risks. We will uncover the exact math behind this permanent wealth drain right now. If you want the real story behind money, subscribe and let's get into it. Meet Robert, a hard-working 62-year-old engineer who just logged into the federal portal to examine his projected monthly retirement payout options. At his full retirement age of 67, Robert is scheduled to receive $2,000 monthly, but the system tempts him today with $1,400 immediately. His financial advisor draws a straightforward chart illustrating that claiming $1,400 right now builds a massive upfront cash lead over delaying up to age 70. According to that conventional spreadsheet, Robert must survive past his 78th birthday just to break even on waiting those 8 extra years for larger checks. That magical 78-year intersection line terrifies millions of retirees into claiming early out of pure anxiety about dying young and leaving dollars behind. Yet treating your Social Security benefit like a regular stock investment with a simple payback period represents the first catastrophic misunderstanding of retirement mechanics. Social Security was never structured as an investment account. It is federally backed longevity insurance specifically designed to protect against outliving your personal savings. Consider what happens to Robert's investment portfolio when severe inflation strikes and equity markets suffer a prolonged downturn right after his 65th birthday arrives. Because his government income is locked at a discounted $1,400, Robert must aggressively sell off mutual funds from his 401k just to cover daily groceries. Liquidating depressed stocks during a bear market permanently destroys capital, accelerating what wealth actuaries define as deadly sequence of returns risk. Had Robert delayed until age 70 to claim $2,480 monthly, that larger guaranteed check would act like an impenetrable fortress protecting his principal. Now let us examine the second lethal assumption driving early claims, the popular fantasy of investing every single early benefit check into index funds. Pundits love insisting you can invest early $1,400 checks at 7% real returns and easily outperform the government's delayed payout. In reality, empirical studies reveal that fewer than 3% of early claimants strictly invest those checks, while most absorb the cash into lifestyle inflation. Even if Robert flawlessly invests every cent, he accepts full stock market volatility to compete against an 8% guaranteed annual credit from Uncle Sam. That 8% delayed retirement credit between full retirement age and age 70 is backed by federal law and completely immune to stock market crashes. Nowhere on Wall Street can a 67-year-old purchase a guaranteed 8% annual payout increase that is fully adjusted for future inflation surges. Yet Robert's strategy turns far darker when we introduce his wife Sarah and analyze how early claiming secretly dismantles critical spousal protection. Most married couples overlook the crucial rule that when one spouse passes away, the smaller of their 2 monthly Social Security checks instantly vanishes forever. By locking his own benefit at $1,400, Robert permanently kept the maximum monthly survivor check that Sarah can ever receive if he dies first. Should Robert pass away at age 80, Sarah loses his corporate pension and her check, left surviving on his deeply discounted $1,400 payout. If Robert had waited until age 70 to secure $2,480, Sarah would inherit that exact maximum payout every month for life. This means Robert's early claiming decision did not merely gamble on his own lifespan, it actively penalized his surviving widow by over 40% monthly. Beyond the spousal penalty lies a third trap that blindsides early claimants who continue working even part-time during their early 60s to stay active. It is the infamous Social Security earnings test, a bureaucratic trapdoor that systematically freezes your benefits if your job income exceeds strict federal annual thresholds. Let us deconstruct the famous break-even chart fallacy that misleads millions into claiming benefits early just to beat an arbitrary age 78 threshold. The fundamental flaw in standard break-even math is treating Social Security like a growth stock portfolio instead of longevity insurance against living past 90. When you delay past full retirement age, the government guarantees an 8% annual return on your deferred benefit up until age 70. In today's financial markets, finding any risk-free inflation-protected annuity paying a guaranteed 8% yield backed by the United States Treasury is literally impossible. Yet every single year, nearly half of American retirees voluntarily forfeit this extraordinary yield because the deep cognitive trap known as loss aversion takes control. Behavioral economists have proven that the psychological pain of losing $1,000 hurts twice as intensely as gaining $1,000 feels rewarding. Fearing you might die early and leave money on the table drives retirees to lock in a permanent 30% reduction in monthly income. Consider David, entitled to $2,000 monthly at full retirement age, who panics at 62 and accepts $1,400 instead over a 25-year retirement. That $600 monthly haircut compounds into over $180,000 in lost guaranteed cumulative cash. The financial devastation multiplies dramatically when we factor the higher earner spousal survivor benefit into this long-term household wealth equation. By federal law, when one spouse dies, the surviving widow drops her smaller check and inherits 100% of the deceased partner's exact benefit. If David claims at 62, he permanently shrinks not only his own check but also the lifeline his wife must depend on in her 80s. Conversely, delaying until age 70 turns that single primary check into an unshakable financial fortress, protecting the surviving spouse against late-life elder poverty. Another hidden trap catching early claimers is the retirement earnings test, which heavily penalizes anyone who continues working while collecting before full retirement age. In 2026, if you collect early and earn over $23,400, the government withholds $1 for every $2 earned. A part-time consulting contract paying $50,000 could temporarily wipe out over $13,000 of your expected annual Social Security cash flow. While withheld benefits are eventually credited back after reaching full age, the sudden liquidity shock can completely disrupt an unprepared retiree's monthly household budget. Now examine the tax torpedo, an aggressive Internal Revenue Service mechanism, where claiming benefits too early significantly increases taxes on your traditional retirement accounts. Because up to 85% of your Social Security can become taxable, stacking early checks on top of required IRA withdrawals creates brutal marginal tax rates. Deliberately spending down your traditional IRA between ages 62 and 70 bridges the gap while drastically reducing your lifetime cumulative tax burden. Drawing down portfolio principal early feels uncomfortable, but using your retirement accounts as a temporary bridge unlocks the maximum possible guaranteed baseline income. Think of your investment portfolio as your liquid fuel tank and delayed Social Security as the indestructible engine powering the final decades of your life. We must also dismantle the sensationalized headline fear that the Social Security Trust Fund reserves will completely vanish over the coming decade. Even if Congress passes zero statutory reform, ongoing worker payroll taxes will still automatically fund roughly 80% of all promised retirement benefits. Claiming 8 years early to avoid a potential 20% future reduction guarantees an immediate voluntary 30% pay cut starting right now. That panic-driven strategy is the financial equivalent of deliberately puncturing your own lifeboat just because you see dark clouds gathering on the distant horizon. Moreover, annual cost of living adjustments applied to a maximized age 70 check provide vastly superior inflation protection when consumer prices spike unexpectedly. A 3% adjustment on a $2,800 check yields $84 monthly compared to just $42 on a reduced early check. Over 2 decades of compounding inflation, those annual adjustments snowball into hundreds of thousands of extra dollars, defending your household purchasing power. True retirement mastery requires shifting your perspective from maximizing cumulative dollars collected to constructing an unbreakable income floor that outlives you. This brings us straight to the hidden earnings trap, catching early claimers. If you take Social Security before full retirement age while still working, your paycheck triggers automatic withholding. Under the retirement earnings test, the government allows you to earn up to $23,400 per year before taking action. Cross that annual line and the mathematical penalties begin instantly. For every $2 you earn above that strict annual limit, the Social Security Administration holds back exactly $1 from your monthly retirement check. Think of this withholding like a forced zero-interest escrow account. You are not losing that money permanently, but you are suffering a massive unexpected cash flow squeeze today. Once you finally reach age 67, the agency recalculates your baseline benefit upward to credit you for every single month they withheld a check during your early 60s. However, that upward adjustment takes roughly 15 years to replenish the lost cash flow. Meanwhile, a second and more dangerous tax trap is waiting right around the corner. Claiming early often collides directly with your Medicare premiums through the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, or IRMAA. Your timing mistake can silently spike your healthcare costs, because Medicare looks at your tax returns from 2 years prior. Stacking early Social Security with final career bonuses can push you right into a punishing surcharge bracket. For David, that miscalculation means an extra $100 deducted from every monthly check. But IRMAA is just the appetizer before the IRS provisional income torpedo hits. The IRS calculates your provisional income by adding your adjusted gross income, non-taxable municipal bond interest, and exactly 50% of your annual Social Security benefits. If that combined number crosses $25,000 for a single filer or $32,000 for a married couple filing jointly, federal taxation of your benefits officially triggers. Cross the higher $44,000 joint threshold, and up to 85% of your monthly check suddenly becomes subject to standard federal income tax rates. This creates a devastating tax multiplier where pulling an extra $1,000 from a traditional IRA can actually increase your taxable income by $1,850 almost instantly. Yet the most irreversible damage of claiming at age 62 happens to married couples, specifically involving the mathematics of spousal and survivor protections. When one spouse passes away, the surviving partner inherits only the single larger benefit of the two, while the smaller check disappears forever. If David claims at age 62 to lock in $1,960 instead of waiting until 70 for $3,472, he leaves Elena with a permanently crippled survivor benefit. Many couples also misunderstand the strict deemed filing rule enacted under the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015, which completely eliminated old spousal loopholes. Today, whenever you apply for either your own retirement check or a spousal check, the government automatically deems you to be filing for both simultaneously. Now let's compare that permanent early reduction against the power of delayed retirement credits, which guarantee a simple 8% annual boost from age 67 to 70. That guaranteed 8% return is backed by the federal government and fully indexed for inflation, making it mathematically superior to riskier stock market withdrawals. Conventional wisdom obsesses over the classic break-even age around 78, but treating Social Security like a simple investment account is a dangerous conceptual flaw. Social Security is not a mutual fund designed to maximize your return on investment. It is government-backed longevity insurance protecting against superaging. Actuarial data proves that for a healthy married couple aged 65 today, there is a greater than 50% probability one spouse lives past age 90. Smart planners use the bridge strategy, spending down traditional 401k assets between ages 62 and 70, so their monthly Social Security check can safely double. Spending taxable retirement funds early systematically shrinks your future required minimum distributions once you reach mandatory withdrawal age at 73. Lowering those future mandatory distributions keeps your baseline income low, protecting David and Elena from both RMI surcharges and the tax torpedo in their 80s. What about the headline fear that the Social Security Trust Fund reserves could face projected depletion around 2033 if Congress takes zero action? Claiming at age 62 out of pure solvency panic means voluntarily accepting a guaranteed 30% lifetime haircut today to avoid a hypothetical 21% reduction later. Even under an absolute worst-case scenario where benefits face an across-the-board cut, 70-year-old David still receives hundreds more per month than if he claimed at 62. Yet federal rules are only half the battle, because where you live can trigger a surprise state tax hit on every check you collect. Most couples calculate their break-even age individually, completely ignoring the spousal survivor trap that permanently penalizes the surviving partner for decades. When one spouse passes away, the household loses the smaller check instantly, while the surviving spouse inherits only one remaining monthly benefit. If the primary earner claims at age 62, that 30% permanent reduction locks in the exact maximum payout their future widow can ever receive. By delaying until age 70, the primary earner guarantees a 24% higher base payout that protects the surviving spouse against late-life inflation. Take Mark and Susan, who both retired with $500,000 in savings and assumed claiming Social Security immediately would preserve their investment portfolio. Mark claimed his $2,000 monthly benefit at 62, reducing his actual check to $1,400, while Susan claimed her own $1,000 spousal allowance. 20 years later, when Mark passed away at age 82, Susan's monthly household income plummeted from $2,400 down to Mark's reduced $1,400 check. Because Mark prioritized early cash flow over actuarial patience, Susan faced her most expensive healthcare decade with a 42% permanent income deficit. Beyond spousal penalties, early claimers frequently fall into a second major trap by continuing to work part-time before reaching full retirement age. Under the Social Security Retirement Earnings Test, earning over $22,320 before full retirement age triggers mandatory benefit withholding by the federal government. Specifically, the Social Security Administration deducts $1 in benefits for every $2 you earn above that annual exempt threshold during early retirement. Imagine earning $42,320 at age 63 while claiming early checks. You exceed the limit by $20,000, causing $10,000 in benefits to disappear. While those withheld funds are not permanently lost, the government freezes your money and slowly adjusts your monthly payout only after reaching full age. Claiming early only to have your checks withheld because you worked is like paying an unnecessary administrative penalty on your own earned wages. Yet even if you stop working entirely, early claimers frequently collide with the most devastating timing mechanism of all, the Social Security tax torpedo. The IRS determines whether your checks are taxable by calculating your provisional income, which adds half of your Social Security to your other gross earnings. Established back in 1983, these income thresholds sit at just $25,000 for individuals and $32,000 for couples, completely unindexed for decades of inflation. If a married couple crosses just $44,000 in provisional income, up to 85% of their Social Security benefits suddenly become subject to federal taxation. Pulling even an extra $1,000 from your traditional IRA while collecting Social Security can cause another $850 of benefits to become taxable simultaneously. This double taxation effect means middle-class retirees often face marginal income tax rates exceeding 40% on their ordinary retirement portfolio withdrawals. By delaying Social Security until age 70, you open an 8-year golden window to withdraw pre-tax 401k funds at historically low income tax brackets. During those bridging years, executing deliberate Roth conversions drains your taxable buckets before RMDs begin, permanently protecting your future guaranteed income from severe taxation. While spending down portfolio principal feels psychologically uncomfortable initially, you are essentially buying an inflation-adjusted annuity that pays an 8% guaranteed real return. No safe government bond or dividend stock on Wall Street offers a guaranteed 8% annual payout increase backed by the full faith of America. Furthermore, claiming benefits without a multi-year tax plan can trigger steep Medicare Part B premium surcharges known as IRMEA brackets when RMDs eventually hit. Because Medicare calculates your monthly premiums based on income from 2 years prior, poorly timed IRA withdrawals can add over $400 monthly in penalties. Social Security claiming is never an isolated decision. It acts as the master lever that dictates your total tax bracket and healthcare overhead for life. The only mathematical exception justifying age 62 is when documented terminal health conditions or severe family longevity trends indicate a life expectancy below age 77. Claiming early simply because you fear trust fund depletion in 2033 guarantees you accept a permanent 30% cut to avoid a hypothetical future adjustment. To avoid these compounding errors, smart retirees use a 3-step coordination framework that aligns their claiming date directly with their investment portfolio structure. Beyond spousal protection, claiming Social Security early triggers a stealth tax trap most retirees never see coming until April. Let's examine how the government calculates your taxable benefits. The IRS uses a unique metric called provisional income, taking your regular income, tax-exempt municipal bonds, and exactly half your Social Security check. This formula determines everything. Established back in 1983, the base threshold sits at just $32,000 for married couples filing jointly. Because Congress never indexed these brackets to inflation, almost everyone gets caught today. Once your combined income crosses that $32,000 mark, up to 50% of your benefit becomes subject to federal income tax. Crossing $44,000 pushes that taxable portion to 85%. Here is the mathematical trap. Withdrawing an extra $1,000 from your traditional IRA adds $1,000 to your income and makes another $850 of Social Security taxable simultaneously. That means the standard 22% federal tax bracket suddenly behaves like a 40.7% marginal tax rate on those withdrawals. You are effectively double taxed on your own hard-earned savings. Claiming at age 62 forces you to absorb this torpedo every single year during retirement. You simultaneously collect benefits and pull from pre-tax accounts to meet living expenses. Smart money flips this timing completely. By delaying Social Security till age 70, you intentionally spend down those heavily taxed traditional 401k balances during your 60s instead. Spending traditional IRA funds early serves two powerful purposes. It provides your daily bridge income while systematically draining the balance before required minimum distributions hit at age 73. If you leave $500,000 growing untouched in a 401k while collecting early Social Security, those mandatory distributions after age 73 will explode your tax bracket. This gap between retiring and turning 70 creates your golden tax window. Without Social Security inflating your baseline income, you can execute targeted Roth conversions at rock-bottom rates. Imagine systematically converting $50,000 annually into your Roth account during your 60s. You pay a modest 12% or 22% tax now to guarantee completely tax-free growth forever. Best of all, Roth withdrawals are completely invisible to the Social Security Administration later. They never add a single cent to your provisional income or trigger the tax torpedo. When age 70 arrives, you unlock a maximized $4,000 monthly benefit that stays largely insulated from IRS taxation because your remaining supplemental income flows directly from tax-free Roths. But taxation is only half the battle. Your Social Security claiming timeline also directly dictates whether you trigger massive hidden healthcare penalties known as Medicare IRA surcharges. Medicare checks your tax returns from exactly 2 years prior. Crossing specific income cliffs causes the government to automatically deduct hundreds of extra dollars from every Social Security deposit. Unlike graduated tax brackets, IRMA A operates as a brutal cliff. Earning just $1 over the threshold instantly spikes annual premiums for both spouses by over $1,600 combined. When unmanaged IRA distributions collide with early Social Security checks at age 73, retirees get pushed right over these cliff thresholds, silently eroding their guaranteed monthly cash flow. Why do millions still rush to file at age 62 despite these tax traps? Emotional panic drives the decision, fueled by sensational headlines warning the trust fund will collapse. Even if Congress changes nothing before the trust fund reserves deplete in 2035, ongoing payroll tax revenues still guarantee over 80% of all scheduled benefits across America. Here is the ultimate reality check. Receiving 80% of a delayed $4,000 check yields $3,200 monthly, easily crushing 100% of an early $2,300 payout. True wealth building focuses on protecting your oldest self. Your greatest retirement risk is not dying at age 68 but outliving your investment portfolio at age 89. Social Security acts as the ultimate longevity insurance policy. It remains the only government-backed annuity paying a guaranteed 8% return while fully adjusting for annual inflation forever. Buying a private commercial annuity from an insurance company that pays $1,700 monthly with inflation protection would cost you nearly $500,000 in upfront capital today. You gain that exact same $1,700 monthly income boost simply by waiting from age 62 to 70. All without surrendering a single dollar of your investment portfolio. To execute this delay successfully without stress, build a clear bridge strategy using your existing assets in 3 distinct chronological layers between ages 62 and 70. First, hold 2 years of living expenses inside high-yield savings accounts or treasury bills. This cash buffer prevents you from selling equities at a loss during market downturns. Second, draw down taxable brokerage accounts next. Long-term capital gains enjoy a 0% federal tax bracket up to $94,000 for married couples, providing incredible tax-efficient cash flow. Third, fill up the remaining space inside your 12% or 22% tax bracket using traditional IRA distributions. You fund your lifestyle while diffusing future tax bombs before age 70. By structuring these exact withdrawals across 8 years, you enter your 70s with smaller RMDs, zero RMIA surcharges, and a maximized $4,000 monthly paycheck guaranteed for life. Most retirees obsess over the break-even age, but treating Social Security as an investment comparison completely misses its true role as guaranteed longevity insurance. Delaying your claim until age 70 locks in a permanent $4,000 monthly baseline that compounds annually with federal cost of living adjustments, protecting against severe inflation. During your bridge years between 60 to 70, you can execute targeted Roth conversions to efficiently fill the low 12% and 22% federal tax brackets. By systematically lowering your pre-tax IRA balances during those low-income bridge years, you permanently reduce your mandatory required minimum distributions once you reach age 73. Shrinking those future RMDs keeps your taxable income below Medicare IRMAA thresholds, saving a married couple thousands of dollars in annual Part B and D penalties. However, if a documented chronic medical condition cuts your realistic life expectancy well below age 76, claiming at 62 becomes the mathematically superior choice. You must also maintain at least 2 years of living expenses in liquid cash before attempting a self-funded retirement bridge to delay claiming benefits. For married couples, the higher earner delaying until age 70 ensures the surviving spouse inherits the absolute maximum monthly payout for their remaining lifetime. If you worked in government jobs without paying Social Security taxes, check how the windfall elimination provision or government pension offset impacts your exact monthly check. 6 months prior to your target claiming birthday, audit your 35-year earnings history on the official Social Security portal to catch and fix costly clerical errors. Ultimately, claiming Social Security isn't an isolated decision, but the fundamental anchor of a synchronized, tax-efficient retirement distribution strategy designed for lasting wealth. By mastering this strategic timing gap and viewing your benefit as longevity insurance, you secure an inflation-proof, guaranteed paycheck that protects your portfolio forever. Hit like if this claiming blueprint helped you, comment below with your target claiming age, subscribe for lasting wealth, and watch our Roth conversion guide next.